Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read you a Washington Examiner article. Trump mulls early 2024 announcement with July on the table. Trump announcing within days. Donald Trump could announce 2024 bid in coming days. Report. This is very interesting. It's pretty awesome. Former President Donald Trump is apparently eyeing an early 2024 announcement in an attempt to, behind the scenes, Trump is mulling an early entry into the 2024 fray to capitalize on lackluster polling of mashed potato brains Joe and to deter any stiff GOP primary competition, which won't happen. The only possible competitor is Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis will almost certainly be his vice president, his VP pick. I did a segment on this prior to this segment, so hit subscribe, please, and watch the segment prior to this one, and also hit subscribe to the Nuclear Confrontation and the Oil Prices 150 channel. Those two channels are below in the description, and I have segments on both of those today. Please go ahead, hit subscribe there, and check out those segments. Really important segments also. Ladies and gentlemen, this is fantastic news for a number of reasons. First of all, if he announces his run and they start investigating him again, most observers who aren't really into politics will see this as partisan. It has always been partisan. An outgoing Democratic administration investigating an incoming Republican president. That's the height of partisanship. Democrats and media have convinced themselves, morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats, highly educated, have convinced themselves that Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe, both kicked out of the Bureau, and James Comey, he also from Trump, no longer there, and Brennan and Clapper and all of these wonderful people, they were never partisan. They were just going ahead and trying to protect national security and our democracy from Facebook ads and Twitter bots. And they didn't know that the Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton. Well, we learned that from we learned that 4 years ago, 5 years ago, actually. 6 years ago, actually. No, 5 years ago, we learned that. But they according to Democrats, Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, all of these wonderful people, they didn't know that Donald Trump was innocent. They had to investigate. And then there was a Mueller probe special counsel which found nothing. Then they looked at his tax returns. They still can't indict him. Then now there's this, he threw his dinner or lunch at the wall and ketchup was dripping, just like our democracy, dripping, just like with ketchup. And he tried to commandeer a limousine. And he was like, no, this is my wonderful limo now. And then he was going after a Secret Service agent. Get away from me. And you used to be a wonderful Secret Service agent, but you went from hero to zero. No. This is in the mind, the apoplectic, always morally superior, oftentimes hysterical mind of the wonderful, highly educated liberal Democrat. Trump is a nightmare. They would rather have Freddy Krueger as president than Trump. They would rather have a recession, 8 to 9% inflation, oil prices that will eventually hit $150 per barrel. I called the recession and the stock market crash that we're seeing in September of 2021. Go to the description section below and hit subscribe to those two channels, to my two other channels. And if you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. But ladies and gentlemen, and if you want to give a super thanks is below. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people, who apparently have no problem with 8 to 9% inflation. Like, people on the left are very interesting. They're like, working class, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, and none of these policies are even feasible. And also, when you even try to implement some of these policies, you get fossil fuels at all-time highs. And Biden now has the unique distinction of being sued not only by oil and gas associations, but also by climate change and environmental activists. So think about that. Just recently, he was sued because he's trying to flood the country with strategic oil reserves. And he's doing everything possible to backtrack his executive orders. So he came in saying, we're going to transform our economy into clean energy and a clean energy economy and net zero emissions. And he's completely done a 180 and completely backtracked because none of his policies were rational or pragmatic. He waived sanctions on Nord Stream 2 right before you-know-who invaded a country that his son worked in without knowing the language, but his emails are obviously... that his emails explain everything, and Hunter's emails are going to be one of the reasons that Biden's impeached. And so we see the stock market crashing, interest rates going up, recession, all of these things. We see food shortages. We see a diesel shortage on the horizon. We have a diesel shortage, but diesel gets to $7 per gallon nationally. It's already close to $6. You're looking at a huge slowdown. We have 2 quarters of negative growth. It's interesting how, liberal economists like Paul Krugman and Robert Reich, do they think that 8 to 9% inflation is good? Are they oil and gas industry experts? Because remember, a couple years ago, we could only hear from the experts, okay? We could only hear from the experts. Are they experts in the oil and gas industry? I don't care if they're economists. Are they experts? No, so we shouldn't listen to them. But the point is, do they think this is good for the working class, for people who are stuck in poverty, or people who weren't in poverty, who are now thrust into poverty because of 8 to 9% inflation, with interest rates going up? So people will pay more for credit cards and mortgages. It's only going to get worse. Tell me how, if you're a Democrat and you're voting against Trump, do you like this economy? Is it good? And the way, oh my God, Mashed Potato Brains Joe gets the benefit of the doubt everywhere. Even these, articles about a diesel shortage in Time Magazine, inflation, they're like, President Biden has tried to address these issues. What? His policies right when he entered the Oval Office were anti-fossil fuel, anti-oil and gas, and that's one of the main reasons we have high prices at the pump. He literally told the world he wants to transform the U.S. economy from fossil fuels to clean energy. Okay? Own it. That's what, just say, if you're a Democrat, say, look, this is what we have to deal with. And he already said that we had to protect democracy in Europe. Okay. That's why we're paying. Well, Europe also is paying more for them, more than we are, actually. This is a global issue now. Because, interestingly enough, every country that tanked their economies now has record highs in inflation. Gee, who told you to tank your economy? Who was gleefully tanking state economies? Yes, Democratic governors. Oh, they were so happy. They were so virtuous. Every time Democrats try to proclaim or exhibit their virtue, the economy tanks, something horrendous takes place. It's the antithesis of virtue. It's this maniacal groupthink that only leads to, ruined lives. In terms of the economy, it's only going to get worse. So, we have July, all of July. Happy 4th of July. God bless America. God bless you. Thank you for watching. To the veterans of this country, God bless you and your families. Thank you for all that you've done to really protect our nation and to keep our country safe. From here, we have July, June, July, August, September, October. 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Really have 4 months. We'll almost certainly see oil at breaking all-time high of 147 at 150. Diesel prices could very well get to $6 to $7. We have refineries in the Gulf Coast that could be negatively impacted, or they could be prevented from actually functioning by hurricanes. It's going to be an active hurricane season. And then the rebuttal from climate change activists, which I agree, climate change is important, but if you don't have the technology to transform your economy, then don't do it. Okay, this urge, this endless, pressure to just transform the economy quickly. It's you don't have the technology to do so. And all you're doing is causing fossil fuels to go to all-time highs and to have Democrats reverse their initial policies, which were altruistic and idealistic and made no sense at all. Notice how they're not talking about AOC's Green New Deal at all. They're like completely embarrassed of it. Because Democrats, everything they touch turns to the fertilizer that's now 300 to 400% more expensive. They're not talking about clean energy anymore because they know it's not like a geopolitical issue. Not nearly as important, at least, as oil and gas. But this is all like bolstering Trump. Trump is going to pick DeSantis, and almost certainly. And if you're a Democrat and you're voting against Trump, or if you're a voter and you are bolstered by your disdain and contempt for the orange Julius Caesar and the Cheeto Mussolini, and you just can't stand him, you don't really care about Hutchinson's testimony. He threw something at the wall and ketchup. You don't care. You just don't like him. You don't want him there. You don't want him. But the thing is, the economy is going to get so bad that even Democrats, the disdain for Trump will lessen. They won't like Trump, but like they'll have bigger issues to address. Once the foreign policy is a catastrophe, and there's probably going to be another geopolitical nightmare. This is the worst president. Mashed potato brains is the worst president of our lifetimes. Anyone who says Trump is worse just doesn't like his personality and just thinks that Trump's personality is actually worse than an actual recession that could lead to flirting with the depression and geopolitical nightmares. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. He's going to announce within a couple of days, according to this report. That's fantastic. Now, if they indict him, they have DeSantis. So, and if the DOJ investigates Trump, that's only going to ensure that Republicans in the House and Senate and the Durham Probe Special Counsel investigate every Democrat they can, especially Joe and Hunter. And the nonsense, Hunter has nothing to do with the government. Read the emails and read the voicemails, or listen to the voicemails. Yes, he does. It's within the Daily Mail and New York Post emails and voicemails. Give me your thoughts below. I mean, like, the amount of evidence they have against Joe and Hunter is unbelievable. The amount of evidence they have with Trump is somebody said something, he did something horrible, and it's been refuted by Secret Service agents immediately. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel, to the Nuclear Confrontation channel, and to the Oil Prices 150 channel. I called everything that we're experiencing now, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the description section. You'll see in September. I called everything. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.